What's going on, everyone? Coach Aaron here, back in another video to help you dominate on the platform. Today we're going to discuss pulling the slack out of the bar for the deadlift so you can have a tight setup and a big pull. So let's get right to it. Alrighty everyone, thanks for tuning in to another video. If you've been watching my past videos, last week I did a few bench press tips. This week we're going over deadlift tips. And if you are new here to this channel, you haven't seen any of these videos, and you don't know who I am, my name is Aaron Khamesi. I'm a powerlifting coach, athlete, referee, and meet director. So I make videos here on this channel for those groups of people. So you can always go check out those videos if you haven't seen them. But today we're gonna go over pulling the slack out of the bar and the deadlift. So this is a thing that many lifters have trouble figuring out, or they don't even know that they should do it. And it leads to a lack of tightness in that bottom position, and it could lead to throwing them out of position when the weight is heavy enough. So we're gonna go over to my computer and we'll go over a video and go over how you can pull the slack out of the bar, or how to know if you are or are not, so that you can have a tight setup where you are one unit between you, the bar, and the weights, and have that efficient pull so you can pull the biggest weights you possibly can. So let's head on over to my computer. And here I have a video pulled up of the bottom position. So I'm just trying to focus on the barbell itself and my hands. We're not worried about the other positions right now. And one thing we want to look at is the center of the bar and reference it to maybe things in the background, depending on where you're filming. So here you can see my messy room, but wherever you are, if you're in a gym, whatever, it doesn't really matter. So if you have something in the background or a contrasting color, then you can see this position of the bar. And what you want to do is you want to pull some tension on the bar in the upwards direction before you initiate your pull. All right, and when you do that, depending on the bar that you're using, whether you're using a narrow or wider grip and how much weight's on the bar, this bar is gonna give a little bit and it's gonna come up a little bit. So you're not gonna have the bar completely straight, it's gonna start bending a little bit and coming up. And so, for example, if we use this dumbbell here as a reference point and see how much space is here, as I'm starting to play this video, okay, you can see now that you can barely see any of the dumbbell above the bar, because I started pulling on the bar a little bit, getting tension and getting the slack out of the bar. Okay, so that bar is gonna have a little give to it. And so here I'm pulling all that give out of it and everything is tight. So here I bring it back down again. You can see how much space there is here. And then I'm gonna start pulling tight again. And again, you can see how much of it goes away as I'm pulling that slack out of the bar. And I'll try and throw the sound in here as well for this video. You can hear that the bar makes a sound when you're trying to pull that slack out of the bar. So if you have the bar completely loose and you don't have any tension on the bar with your hands, and then you just start to go from 0 to 60 and just immediately pull, you'll hear a clicking sound of the bar inside the collar hitting the top end. So you're gonna hear that sound if you're filming yourself, or if you're watching someone else and you hear that sound, then you know they did not pull that slack out of the bar. So that's a way that you can assess yourself and see whether you're doing it correctly or not. You wanna pull that slack out of the bar, and then when you initiate your pull, you won't hear that clicking sound anymore. You might just hear the weights on the end, maybe clanging together or something like that. So I'll play the sound so you guys can hear that, and then you initiate your pull. Okay, and the same thing with the sumo stance. So I'm gonna jump here forward into the sumo stance, and you're gonna have the hands inside your legs. I'm using a hook grip as here as well, it doesn't really matter. You can see here, this dumbbell, the weight's right above it as a reference point. And then when I pull the slack out of there, you can see how much of it goes away, and then back down, and then back up. And even on that rep, because there's so little weight on the bar, it's only 70 kilos, with a light enough weight, you might actually have the weight start coming off the ground a little bit. If you get enough tension and you pull enough of that slack out of the bar with light enough weight, then the weights will kind of like pop up a little bit. And so you'll get this like floating action where the weights are barely touching the ground or even a little bit off the ground. And that's how you know you're doing it right, because once you get to heavier and heavier weights, once you start loading up more and more plates, then it's gonna be more and more difficult to get that weight to come off the ground, but you're still applying that same amount of tension to 300 kilos versus 70 kilos. So again, you don't want to make that sound, okay? You don't want to be yanking it and hearing that clicking sound. You want to pull the tension out first and then initiate your pull so that there is no sound. So you can, again, practice this. Try holding it nice and relaxed where you're not doing anything, and then try and apply some tension, 25%, 50% of your max tension, not doing a full pull, see what it feels like, and then relax again. You can even, if you want, push down. So if you want with your arms, push down into the ground. So you're doing the opposite, do extreme in the opposite, pushing down, and then do the extreme in the other way where you're pulling up a little bit and pulling that slack. Everything is tight, so you can see what it feels like to be in those different positions. Okay, and then what you want to do is get into that position where you're pulling that slack out of the bar. Everything is tight. You are now one unit. So what I tell people as another way to think about it is, let's say your car broke down on the side of the road and you and your buddies want to push your car. Okay, how are you going to go push your car? I doubt you and your buddies are gonna go stand 10, 20 feet away from the car and then run at it full speed and then lower your shoulder and try and hit the car. You're gonna go from no tension, no unit between you and the car, to trying to hit that car with some kind of speed, okay? Try and get a running start into it like people try and do with a deadlift, but that weight of the car is so much more than you that you're not gonna move the car. You're just gonna bounce off the car, you're gonna hurt your shoulder, and then the car's not gonna move. Instead, what you actually do if your car is already broken down is you come up to the back of the bumper, you might lower your shoulder into the back of the car, maybe put your hand somewhere for grip, then you'll dig your toes into the ground, okay, so that you're not slipping on the ground, so you're finding good footing, okay, in the ground and getting tension. You're getting good contact between you and the car, so again, you're getting good tension there, so you're not going to slip or anything like that. And now you wedged yourself in between the car and the ground, and then you start initiating the pull and you start building some momentum and you push in the car, and then the car starts to go. So same thing here. We do not want a running start. We don't want to go from zero tension and try and yank that bar with enough weight, 2 times body weight, 3 times body weight. This thing is going to pull you out of position, okay? And with the underhand grip, if you start bending your elbow, there may be increased risk of tearing the bicep tendon. So what you want to do instead is wedge yourself in there, okay? So you're finding your position that you want for your starting position, and then you have your feet tied on the ground. You're gonna have the tension in your arms in the bar, and you're wedged yourself in there, and now you are one unit. So when you apply force into the ground, whether conventional or sumo, that force is efficiently gonna go through your body and into the bar and pull it up, because you are now one unit. Everything is tight. There's no loss of that force and a change of position, including the change of the position of the bar actually moving up into the top end of the collar before it creates now the actual stopping point of the bar, and then you start coming. So just a quick little tip to focus on is pulling that slack out of the bar, and you can practice it by pushing down or being completely relaxed and then trying to pull up with your warm-up weights and seeing what it looks like on film. If you're filming from the front, seeing what it looks like, getting that tension out. Is the bar actually moving up or not? And also listening, okay? Is it making the clicking sound when I pull, or is it making the clicking sound when I'm setting up and then no sound when I'm doing my pull? All right, so that was just a quick tip going over pulling the slack out of the bar to make the starting position more efficient by making it tighter. If you want to see a full breakdown, you can go check out the other videos. Like I said, check out my deadlift tips playlist. I'll put the link for it down in the description below, so you can see the longer video going over the full starting position that you should be in for your conventional and sumo deadlift. And I also have the video going over getting your lats tight, okay? How to lock in the lats for that starting position. Then when you combine it with this, getting the bar tight and pulling the slack out of the bar in that starting position, now you're in a correct position and you are in a tight position. And now you have an efficient starting position where everything is tight and you're gonna be able to pull the most weight you possibly can. All right, so hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, be sure to give it a like, and then you can subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this that I'm putting out every week. Last week, like I said, went over bench press tips. This week, deadlift tips. Who knows, maybe next week I'll set everything up for the squat and we'll go over some squat tips to make sure you guys can lift the most weight possible and dominate on the platform. So I'll see you guys next time.